Our next category, Blake, second to last, is our Fighter of the Year. And now there are four guys that I gave the nomination for this award. The first one is going to be Khabib Nurmagomedov. And although he only fought once this year, he was able to possibly cement himself as the greatest mixed martial artist and greatest fighter of all time with his fantastic. Honestly, if I put this, I was kind of getting close to putting up his submission of Justin Gaethje up there for our nominees for submission of the year because
Tapology had it.
Tapology definitely had it. I don't agree with some of their lists.
They had like 50 choices though, so there's a lot to go through. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
I forgot some of these were even this year. Shoot.
Some of their top fours are five, a little iffy. Like,
yeah,
I don't think Figueiredo was in top five for this.
I don't think he was. I didn't even see Figueiredo on there against the Benavidez.
So, hey, with Tapology, just take it with a grain of salt. But yes,
I thought that was strange though because I thought that was at least top 50 in there. I mean, maybe it's because he was already beat to a pulp, you know. Maybe that's why I took a little bit of the shine off the submission.
I guess, but
I don't know. Dude, you could literally see dude's eyes like white. You know what I mean? Like that was scary.
It was kind of unreal.
Scary to watch.
Kind of unreal. But Khabib, he does deserve a nomination for this, especially if he does, fingers crossed, stay retired. The next one I have is going to be Khamzat Chimaev, which of course had arguably one of the greatest 3-fight stretch
day span.
In 8 days, been 2 wins in 8 days. He fought 3 times. He absorbed
66 days, 3 wins. Not bad.
No, not at all. I mean, 3 fights this year, Blake. He absorbed 1 punch, 1 strike. Absorbed 1 strike.
Yeah, that's insane to me.
And then he had that. What a lot of people put up there is their nominations for knockout of the year with his 1 punch knockout over Gerard Meerschaert, which was tough. That was tough. But for having one of the fastest rises to stardom in pretty much UFC history, at least one of them, that deserves a nomination. Now, the second one, or the third nominee, is going to be Kevin Holland. Of course, he has to make this list because he joined, I believe, 3 people in UFC history to have ever gone 5-0 in one calendar year in the UFC. He went 5-0 in 2020, 3 by knockout, 1 by submission, which is technically, it was a verbal tap for a neck injury from a slam. And then he had 1 split decision in the middle of this. So Kevin Holland, for being able to step up to the plate continually, be able to take all these short notice fights, and be able to make Dana White super happy, be able to make himself very happy as well. Especially his last knockout against Jacare Souza, which could have been awarded a nomination for knockout of the year. He definitely deserves to be on this list. Now, of course, the last nominee for fighter of the year is going to be none other than Deiveson Figueiredo. 4 title fights in 2020, although he did miss weight for the first one, so you put your little asterisk on that. But it's still all title fights, essentially. Going 3-0-1 in this is absolutely unreal, and it's almost a unprecedented type of year between what him and Kevin Holland had. So, Blake, out of these 4 nominees, who's taking the award home for you?
I think this was actually probably the toughest choice for me. Out of all these awards that we're handing out to the fighters this year. I mean, for me, it was really only Khamzat was he was a leader, like he was the lead horse for a while, probably up until November-ish or, right when the Corona stuff started really getting bad again. Once he dropped out of that Leon Edwards fight, he was automatically out for me.
Yeah.
And it's no fault of his own. That's just how it is. That's how the business is. Someone else,
you said, Blake, it's just a fight game.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kevin Holland and I think Deiveson Figueiredo, those are the top 1 and 2 for sure. And now if Holland was getting main event slots and getting title fights maybe, or doing something a little bit more than what he's been doing, he'd probably get the nod. 5-0 is insane. That's crazy to me. But Deiveson Figueiredo, he's been pretty much at the pinnacle, of his division for this whole year, really. Anytime he's fought, it's been the most amount of eyes are going to be watching for your division, and you're fighting like the top dudes most of the time, or at least the top dudes that are available. So I think that you got to give it to him. He's still the champ, and he defended it, 2 times already now in 1 year? I mean, how many other champions are defending at the rate that he's,
How many champions are having
he
more
defends in
than
3 weeks?
1 or 2 fights a year?
Yeah, for real. Seriously. Like that's why I think it's really impressive what he was able to accomplish this year, especially with I guess a little bit of the hardships he was talking about going into the last fight. Not to mention the fact that was 3 weeks after his previous defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's I think we're gonna have to go with, or at least I'm gonna have to go with Figueiredo on this one. Although it breaks my heart not to be able to give Holland that award.
Well, don't worry, Blake, because that is what I am here for. And although I do want to give Figueiredo all my respect for whatever that's worth, because for him,
Right? He's like, screw your respect.
Right?
Where's my 4th and long award?
He's getting 50 bans from Dana White every fight. He doesn't need this, but for what he was able to accomplish, for him essentially saving the Henry Cejudo kind of took it. He kind of saved the flyweight division, and for what Figueiredo has been able to do, the eyes he's been able to bring to that division, he really has fully brought this division back from the dead. So that deserves so much credit. But for this to be this year, Kevin Holland has been the face of the UFC in 2020. He has been the face of the COVID era of the UFC. He's been that guy that steps up to any challenge and demolishes anyone in his path. And he has really skyrocketed his career from this year. So for joining just Roger Herrera in 2007 and Neil Magny in 2014. Neil Magny, of course, underrated fighter, but that's besides the point.
Did we break the? No, I don't think we've talked about Chiesa and Magny being the main event now.
Yeah, that got moved up because this is information. Of course, go check our UFC talk that was just posted on 12/31, the last day of the year. Go check that one out. We did talk about that fight a little bit. Yeah, but of course, that's the thing now. A lot of people hate it. I love that in the fight. No, I'm just saying. It's underrated. Neil Magny, underrated. But to be able to join those lists of names, what Kevin Holland was able to do is fantastic. And that's why he gets my award for Fighter of the Year.